Okay, we're going to talk about the global settings properties in Vizrt T5. And what that means is that we're going to come up into the scene tab up here into the upper right. And what that does is open up a new window here. And this will give us options and the basic parameters for a scene that can be modified. So first, our first triangle down here that we can reveal is called Compositing. And we have a couple of options here under the render sequence. This whole area will define how the key signal should be generated. Now it's set to overlay by default. So we have a virtual studio, which is specifically for virtual studio. We have a full screen, which enables downstream compositing and generates a full screen key. Then we have overlay, and this sets the key signal to only those containers that have a key function on it. So for instance, if we look over here into my scene tree, we have a key function on this container. In that case, we'd want to use the overlay setting. Now we also have a choice for background image, and this uses the alpha values of the background image as the key signal. We also have an auto key. An auto key generates the key signal automatically from the containers in the scene tree. Now we also have a libero. And obviously this is a render sequence for the Viz Engine used with Viz Libero. We also have an option for Arena, and again this is the render sequence for Viz Arena. We also have Arena Image Based, and this is for Attract Camera in Viz Arena. We also have Eclipse, and this is the Eclipse render sequence. And then we have External Verse, and this is the render sequence for Unreal Engine integration. And then there's External AR, and this is the render sequence for, and this is another render sequence for the Unreal Engine. And then we have Arena Image Based Fill and Key, and again this is for a Viz Arena product. Now since it's on auto key, so we're going to change this back to default. Under that we have a key render mode, and we have a couple of options. One, config, which renders the key according to the settings in the Viz configuration, and then the single pass. This allows one rendering pass, and then a double pass uses two rendering steps. So we're going to keep it on single pass for now. If we have it on overlay, we also have an option to change the background color within our scene. So if we don't want black, we want an entirely different color, we can change that. Now if you don't notice anything, it's because we have it on overlay. So if we were to come up here and change this to full screen, we can now see that background color. And again, your color wheel has all the same color wheel options that we find throughout the Vizrt interface. We have our HSV, RGB, hex value, and the ability to pick your color. So I'm going to go ahead and change this back to black. We'll go ahead and change that back to overlay. Now below our compositing, we have an asset placement. Now number one, up here we have our environment map. So you can notice right now that it's grayed out. If we switch over to our render mode, we were in the classic. If we go to the Viz Engine renderer, and now we come to our compositor, our environment map box is now active. And that means we could go over and search through our folders in our image tab, find a pre-filtered environment map, and slide it right up into that area right there. I'm going to switch back to the render mode to put it to classic so that we'll be able to see the other options here. We also have an option for a background. So we can place any image in the background that we want it if you want to use it as a design reference or something. So for example, we could find an image, maybe a guide that we need, and slide this into the background image there, and now the image shows us in the background. We also have a section for a foreground, so that means this is going to place the image into the foreground, and it now is on top of our background image. If you want to get rid of an image, you can just click and drag that to the trash can. Furthermore, if you click on an image here, it will highlight it within your asset view in the I tab to show you which image it is. Now below that we also have two more, an aux and a preview, and this is specifically for stereo graphics. So your Vizrt machine needs to be licensed for that in order to use these two settings here. I'm going to swap these two out, place one in the background, and get rid of the foreground. Now the tab below that is shadows, and shadows enables or disables the shadow function within a scene, and this is for the classic render pipeline only. So if we want to enable shadows within our scenes, we would just need to keep our shadows enabled, and then we have an option for stencil and shadow map. Stencil is the least resource intensive, but if you want a more realistic look, you can use the shadow map. We'll have another video on shadows specifically, so you can check that one out. Below these shadows is the masking. And when we open this up, we have what you notice are layers, and there are 6 of them active. More so, this one says invert layers, so it makes it possible to invert our masks. And if you need to know more about masking, you can check out the masking videos. But when you are working with masks, it may be necessary to come into your masking section within our scene settings here and adjust a few parameters. Below the masking, we have our stage button, and these merely define how the timeline is positioned. We have 3 selections. We have selected, first, and separate. Selected sets the timeline of all the selected directors to the first found tag selection. We go into the stage here. This is what it is referring to. And then first, we'll set the timeline of the first found director containing the searched tag to tag the position. And then there's also a separate, which sets the timeline for each director containing the searched tag. Below this stage, we have an option for magnifier. Magnifier can be used for various reasons. So, for example, if I were to place some sort of image within our scene tree here, we'll scale this image up just a bit so that we can see it. And now we'll go back into our scene. We're going to enable our magnifier, and we have a choice here for a rectangle or a circle. And as I change it to circle, you can start to see the little magnifier develop here. So we have a tessellation setting, which we can increase or decrease. We have a color setting, so we can change the color of it. And you can see that now we have a little colored magnifier. We have a position, which we can move left or right, and a size of it as well. So this area here is what is going to be magnified, and we'll change the color back to white. And the color wheel again has our same options to pick everything. And we can finally come in here and scale this so that we can scale up what part of the image is being magnified. Now we'll have another video on the magnifier, so you can check that one out. And finally, we have our developer options, and when we click on that, we only have our option for undo, redo commands enabled or disabled, which it is enabled by default. So that's a brief introduction to the scene panel within Vizrt T5.